Hi, I'm William Byrne. 31 years ago, I wrote, illustrated, and self-published a 24-page black and white comic book called Max Burger P.I. Max Burger P.I. is about a mutant hamburger private investigator, born from a microwave explosion 17 years ago, who solves crimes and battles his brother the Mad Burger, part cyborg, part hamburger, and who lives in the sewers and plots to take over the world and reshape it to his dark vision. Now I'm planning to re-release Max Burger P.I. number 1 in a longer 48-page story with all new art. I hope you will back my Indiegogo campaign. Thank you. Hey, welcome everyone. It's been a while since I've been live streaming. Got a guest with me today. I'm just going to bring him in, and he can introduce himself to you guys. All right. Hey, Chuck, you're back again.
What? How's it going? Before we even start, Max?
Sorry, Chuck, you're freezing up there.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say, Max Burger, is his dad Big Max?
Big Mac?
Yeah, Big Max for Max Burger. Anyways,
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? I'm Chuck Pineau. I'm a freelance writer and editor for comics, and I'm the creator of such things as Welcome to the Void, Belial, which is on Facebook or on Kickstarter right now, and the audio drama Essence House, which we're also kickstarting to turn into a novel.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yes. And so what was everything that got you going into this stuff, into the comic book stuff?
Well, I've been a storyteller all my life. It's been something that's been very important to me, and even when I got into my early 20s and whatnot, I co-created a online play-by-post role-playing game with my wife, and that was something that just propelled our writing all the way through for well over 10 years. And I've always just found different ways to write and create stories, whether it's creating role-playing like Dungeons and Dragons campaigns, or short stories. I'd write scripts, and then they just kind of get put away. And then about 5 years ago, I moved, and my cable guy shows up, and he looks around, he sees all the comic art on the wall, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm a comic creator. I'm trying to make my first comic." And I was like, "Oh, that's so cool. I've written them before too. Hey Mike, what's up?" But nothing's ever really come of it. And so he was like, "Well, would you like to come, see what I've got?" Because he had this whole big fantasy world, and we just kind of hit it off. And so I went, I checked it out, and I ended up being the writer of his book. And we kickstarted it, and everything went well, but then it ended up falling through and not happening. And I got too deep in. I had started editing books in order to kind of get my name out there, and I realized I was in love. I loved making comics. I loved the fact that my stories were getting out there, and that I was able to help other people get their stories out there. And so I just kept pushing forward, and I ended up making my own books and working on, I don't even know how many other people's books. And now I'm in it, and I'm working hard, and I'm published through several different publishing houses and whatnot, and it's just been a good run already, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Nice. So like you just got into the collecting with your wife and stuff like that, but what the true origins, like what was your first comic book that you picked up that you go, it must have been before you met her, right?
Oh, definitely. So, I mean, I loved comics from a young age. I would go over to my aunt's house, and she always had comics around, and so there was a lot of like Captain Americas and Ghost Riders and Spider-Mans and all sorts of stuff. I was always a Marvel guy, and so I never, my family never really, like, I never got the chance to pick up my own books for the most part until I was about. So I would, you go over and someone else has comics, cool, I'll read them. And then I ended up, I was probably 13, and I was helping my aunt out. She had a cleaning business, and she would clean one of the banks at night. So we would come in after the bank had closed and we would clean out the bank. And which is funny. If you're going to clean out a bank, you think you'd make some real money off of it, but
Yeah.
we did not. And usually I was just there to help out, and she would buy me a treat or whatever. But after that, I remember going to the store next door, and she's like, "What do you want?" And I was like, "Honestly, I want this Wolverine comic." She was like, "Okay." And so I ended up picking up Wolverine 77, I think was the first one I picked up. And then after that, she would just she'd pay me in comics. And I just kept going, and I fell in love. And then I started, when I got my first jobs that actually paid, I would go and I'd buy my comics, and it's just moved on since then.
Nice. And now I noticed here in your profile here that you worked for Arctic Press for a while. Isn't that the same one that the Warrior Nun and stuff has been published?
Yeah, I got to have a story out through them. So yeah, I got to be in one of their anthologies. So that was really cool.
Nice, because they're a pretty big publishing company.
Yeah. No, I've got to work with I've got to put some work out through some big stuff. Now I haven't worked directly for any of those publishing companies. I've just had work that has gone through them, but that's been really cool. And like I tell everybody, that's kind of a badge you're able to do. You're able to say, I have something that went through this publishing company. So yeah, that's really cool. And actually, the story of the Antarctic Press is really funny. I have a good buddy who is very tight with them, and they were asking him to do some work for them, and they wanted him to draw something for them. And he was like, you know what? Yeah, he contacted me and he said, Chuck, I know you really want to get into Antarctic Press, and I know you really want to do something with them. So, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I don't know. What do they want? And he was like, oh, you know what? Good idea. Why don't we contact them? So he contacts the editor-in-chief, and he gets back to me like literally. This was dinner time on a Thursday. That's going to be very important to the story. Dinner time on a Thursday. He gets back to me, the editor-in-chief, and he says, hey, so good news and bad news. They want us to do a 5-page short for their science fiction anthology. I was like, okay, great. Yeah, we can do that. No problem. He goes, the problem is they want it done by Monday. I was like, what, like my script? And he's like, no, the whole story. Can we do that? And I was like, that's not up to me, man. That's up to you. Can you do that? You're the artist. Like, you got the hard part. And he's like, well, how soon can you get me a script? And I said, I'll stay up all night until the script is done and I'm happy. So you'll have a script in the morning. And he was like, oh, yeah, then we can do it. Let's do it. So I stayed up all night. I stayed up until about 3 in the morning. I believe it was actually 3:16 when I finally messaged him and said, I'm done. There's the script. Go ahead. And the other part of that was that because we had to get it done so quick, I was like, well, what about colors and letters? He's like, we don't have a budget for that. He's like, I'm not a letterer, and coloring would take an awful lot of time. I said, okay, so let's just do a silent black and white comic. He's like, you can do that? I'm like, yeah, I can do that. So it ended up being a silent comic. They loved it. It got put into an anthology, and yeah, man, been trucking ever since.
Nice. So what is your process for writing? Like, what do you usually do? Just sit at the computer, the keyboards, and stare at it until something comes, or?
I have a lot of ideas that kind of noodle around in here, and that I'm playing with. I don't get the opportunity to write as often as I'd like because I'm usually editing and working on other people's scripts. I'm more prolific as an editor than a writer, sadly, but not sadly as well. I'm in the industry, and so I don't care. But I do love to write, and so usually, like with something like that, where someone's like, "Man, we need something," I'll be like, "Okay. What do you love to draw? What are things that you enjoy? What do you hate to draw?" And I'll just kind of draw off of that and go, okay. And so I already knew it had to be silent. He loved drawing, weird monsters and stuff. He loved to be able to play and do strange things. And I was like, okay, cool. Alien landscape. All right. Like, I'm getting this. And so that stuff kind of starts to noodle around and pieces kind of fit in my head. And then, I love weird twists and stuff. So that's when my brain started going into, okay, what is the twist? What can I play with? What can we do weird here? And so that's that. When I'm doing something quick like that, that's what it is. If it's something more long term, like a Belial or a Welcome to the Void or any of my other projects I have, they tend to sit around and germinate for a long period of time. And we, I just kind of like, I have this one that's been sitting there since 2016, and new things just keep adding to it and adding to it. And so I think by the time I'm ready to actually make it happen, it'll all be there and ready. So
you write anything down while you get those ideas, or you just keep them in your head until you're ready to type?
Until I'm ready to outline, it usually doesn't get written down. And the reason for that is that I find if the idea is important enough, it sticks around. It kind of plays in there. And so I don't worry too much about it. And it tends to come back anyways. I just kind of have a brain that loves story and loves playing with that kind of stuff. So,
yeah.
But once I start working on an outline, I write down everything. Like I have a notebook just for that project usually, or a section of a notebook just for that project. And it's all getting written down.
Well, I've just started to do a different way of, we have a dollar store here in Canada called the Dollarama. So
I know, but I'm Canadian. So
are you Canadian? I thought you were from the States. Okay.
I'm living in Texas, but I was born and raised on Lake Simcoe in Ontario, Canada.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So if I said references to you, you'd know what I was talking about,
You already had me at Dollarama, yep.
If I use some Bob and Doug McKenzie words,
Oh, yeah. Take off, eh?
Yeah. Hoser, stuff. So anyway, at the Dollarama, I picked up one of these whiteboards.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I've been writing down. I've got a really big, complicated story coming up. So I'm doing time travel. So
yeah, time travel is something, isn't it? That's like Essence House, the novel and the audio drama. It's a time travel drama, and so we're like, okay, how does this work? Because in the first season we go to 1995 a lot, and so we really had to, where are you in 95 and what's happened and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's a lot of writing, a lot of complicated. You got to make sure everything fits because someone's going to call you on it.
Well, and then plus you want to do is go like, how's your character going to develop going through this storyline?
Mm-hmm.
If he gets, there's one show I watched, the 90s Flash. You ever watch that season before it got canceled?
I did very early on, yes.
They did a story called Fast Forward, where the Flash has to throw Pike out of town, and Pike I think he got freed from jail, and he goes after Barry, and Barry gets into trouble because he slugs Pike, because Pike said something about his brother was coward when he killed him and stuff like that.
Oh, man.
And so he decided to leave, and then he hears something going on at Pike's hideout. Pike's got a nuclear missile or something. He's planning to shoot at Central City. So he has to come back as the Flash. And Pike sends the missile towards the town. Flash has to chase it, or he's being chased by it. And then Pike gets bored or something, pushes a button. The missile explodes and sends the Flash 10 years in the future, where Pike has taken over Central City.
Oh, wow.
And it's become a dark, future, because Barry's been missing for 10 years now. And he's lost his powers. He runs into Julio. Julio's now working for the sanitation department. And Pike's got everybody bugged, so he knows Barry's back.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I kind of like that story. I like that.
Well,
Time,
yeah, and
yeah.
time travel stuff and the Flash, they pretty much go hand in hand at this point.
Oh yeah, well the new series, like Barry's always going through time and messing it up.
Going through time or going to different dimensions and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Those kind of stories are fun to write. I don't know if you find that to do that, different dimensions and time and stuff like that. You know.
I haven't got to play with dimensions as much. But
No.
yeah, time is a lot of fun, and I have no doubt dimensions would be too. Having seeing different versions of people and all that kind of stuff, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so but yeah, the research and stuff is a headache because you got to find, okay, what year am I going to fill that character and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah.
And you watch a lot of videos. I don't know if you do any of that when you do writing. Do you watch any old movies or some? If you're doing time travel,
I tried to. So what did I do with Essence House? It wasn't about the time travel aspect that I was excited about. It was more about the family drama side of it and sort of the weirdness factor. And so I ended up watching a lot of Twin Peaks.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to get into the weirdness of it and everything. But yeah, no, I mean, certainly I'll check stuff, other stories out. And I can't watch anything while I'm writing. It's even music is about the furthest I can go. But if there's anything else on TV, it tends to be very, it's very confusing, and I have a hard time. So I have to have like a dry canvas, so to speak, around me, headphones in, and just focusing on that. But yeah, I love to go check out other stories, and I'm really big on feeling out other people's story elements and seeing, kind of how they work, and like why you ended up pausing here or switching the scene there and all that kind of stuff. I love breaking that stuff down.
Right, right. Now, do you have a favorite spot that you go and sit and write? Like when you finally put it out, do you have a corner in your house where you have the computer and then you put the door sign on the door?
This is my area right here. Yeah, this is my desk, and this is where I tend to do all of my work.
Okay, so but you put signs on the door so your wife doesn't walk in and.
You know what? I don't have to worry about my wife. She is amazing when it comes, because she's a writer as well. She knows if I'm plugged in there and I'm doing it, just unless it's important, leave them alone. So she's pretty good. The kids, not so much, but it's gonna happen. So
yeah,
I'll usually just tell them, like, they'll poke me, and now the rule is, okay, you want to get my attention, that's fine, but whatever I'm writing, I'm gonna finish this sentence or this paragraph. So sometimes they're sitting there waiting for a minute or two, because no, I'm gonna finish this thought before we move on.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. You need to have some stuff around you so you can look at, things that are not making any noise, so you can, if you get a moment where your brain is kind of fogged.
There's also comics and pictures and paintings and even my own stuff and my dragons, of course, my little dragon collection and stuff. So yeah, there's always something to kind of just fade away into and stare at and see where my brain goes.
Yeah, well, I find like if I'm like I went out this morning and did some writing, and there's a coffee shop that's just exclusive to Ontario, which is called Williams. It used to be Williams Coffee Pub. It's now called Williams Fresh Cafe. And for some reason, I cannot type at home. I have to go to this coffee shop. And I went there this morning. Now, it was very odd going in because you have plastic barriers. They have booths there. So they have plastic barriers up on top of the booths before the next one. And you're sitting there and you're watching everybody coming in with masks.
Yeah.
You're expecting a robbery. But I sat there and it seemed to be my place to write. So that's my magic spot to sit and write.
Oh, that's cool. I haven't really tried that. I know that a lot of people do it. I live in the country, So finding a spot like that is next to impossible anyways. Like a
Yeah.
coffee shop, I'd have to drive like half an hour or so.
Wow.
And I don't know that I'd feel comfortable
Yeah.
being around other people. Yeah, I love, I'm in my room, I'm in my location. I'm not usually worried about the other people and stuff. If I'm out people watching, I don't want to be writing. I want to be watching people and kind of taking in the eccentricities and the weirdness that is human nature.
Right. Right. Yeah. I usually go in the morning, so there's not usually that many people there. You know.
Well, that's because you wake up at like 2 in the morning. So
I
yeah,
do.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
But haven't been opening up until 10 o'clock in the morning. And then when I got there this morning, the way the sun was positioned, it was positioned on the side of my face
Uh,
through the glass
well,
window. You know.
and for you, 10 in the morning, that's like dinner, right?
Yes. But I got there and I wrote a couple paragraphs. That was it. You know.
Every little bit helps, right?
Yeah.
It's one more brick in the wall.
Yeah. So do you have a structure? Like what kind of do you write plots? Do you write full scripts?
Or for comics, I
Yeah.
definitely write full scripts. I'm big on the outline. So you have your outline, you set that up. I kind of have a very good idea of where it's gonna go, especially because I wanna know where I'm gonna end. I want my ending to be very tight. I want all of it to kind of work out. So I try not to outline too strong, but my main stuff is I need to know where I'm beginning and I need to know where I'm going, and I might have just one or two, just a couple of details in between, depending on how far into my head is, just so that I know how I'm going to get there, and then I make it happen. And when I script, it's page one, 5 panels, panel one, blah blah blah, and I'll do that. And it's because as an editor, pacing is very important to me, and I don't want to. I Because you don't always know who your artist is going to be, or how well they are with pacing or any of that kind of stuff. I pace it myself and I set it up myself. That way I know exactly how it's going to look and how it's going to be settled. And I'm always open though to my artist who might show up and say, what if we add an extra panel here, or what if we, I'm able to do these two in one panel? And it's like, okay, cool, yeah, like I'm open to that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I have it all kind of set up for them, so they don't have to do the heavy lifting too much, because they already have enough work to do.
You don't do any layouts for them. You just give them the script, right?
Yeah, no, I leave that up to them. That's their strong point. I'm not an artist, and my visual acuity, so to speak, my visual sense is probably not as strong as theirs where storytelling is concerned. So I would rather give them nothing where that's concerned, so they really get to come in and be inspired by the book and by what I've written, enough that they're able to put their own vision on it.
Because with me, I usually I'll have some pages where I'll have to go into detail and go, well, it's a long panel. It's this and that.
Yes.
Because I do art. I draw. So I sometimes see those panels and I go, well, I'd like to have this page laid out this certain way because it will make it flow better, you know?
That makes perfect sense. Absolutely. And if you are an artist, yeah, of course.
Yeah. And then sometimes I'll leave stuff. I go, well, I'm a little shaky in this one. I'm not sure. I'll leave it up to them to design the page, you know?
Yeah.
But I've been doing it. My way has been usually full script, and I write it like a movie script.
Okay.
So it's got the fade in, fade out, external, internal. Sorry, I can't. My tongue is not working. Inside and outside, you know.
Yeah.
Locations and stuff like that, you know. So that's usually what. And then I put all the dialogue in, and I try to think as much as I can how much dialogue. If I get the artwork back, I usually look back and throw in extra stuff. I don't know if you do that.
Not usually. I usually have my dialogue pretty much tightened up by the time the artist even gets it. Just because I want them to know how much space to leave the letterer. So I try to have it all set up. Now, if there is some extra room and I do feel like something else might have worked, okay, cool, but I tend to try to go for less words, more art. The art should say as much as it possibly can. But if I can throw something extra in and it does make sense, then I'm open to it.
Yeah, I always find if you have too much lettering in there, too much words, it slows down the story too much. That's
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
if you got a character that goes on and just blah 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 blah, blah and you got more of a balloon there than you got art.
Yeah.
It's coming over the art. That's not good.
Yep. No, it's absolutely true.
Yeah, and that's all into pacing and stuff like that. So, now, did you study anything for writing? Did you take any like schooling? Or
I've certainly, there's a lot of, nothing specifically like college or anything like that. There's just a lot of things that I studied along the way. Things so I studied improv, and I was part of an improv troupe and such. So timing becomes very important. So that's helped me a lot with my pacing. And so recognizing all that kind of stuff that you work with over the years and how they can help you in storytelling and how they can work. So improv helped with pacing, and watching and breaking down TV shows and movies and such ended up helping an awful lot as far as how scenes end and cliffhangers and all that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
it was most of my education has been about breaking down other things and really kind of reverse engineering what's out there rather than trying to go out and be told by someone who maybe hasn't done it. Hey, this is how you should do it. I'd rather go and see. No, this is how they're doing it. It's right there. Why am I paying thousands of dollars for you to tell me when you're here teaching us? These people did it. It's there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So since you moved from Canada to the United States, have you adapted your writing to American?
Yeah,
Have
I had to
colors
drop
felt
that.
different?
I had to drop that U right away, and that was tough. I did not enjoy that. But I'm actually used to it now. Um, the other day I wrote, I think it was favorite with a U, and I was like, oh, you can't completely take the Canada out of the boy.
And then somebody's going to come by and look at it and go, "You spelt that wrong."
Well, in this country, I may have.
Yeah. So yeah, you should actually write a story with somebody Canadian experience.
Did it?
Did you?
That story that I did originally that never got published, there was a Canadian character in there, and I ended up using when I think they said colorful or something, and I put the U in there, and the publisher was like, you spelled that wrong." And I was like, "No, he's Canadian, so I'm gonna spell all of his stuff in Canadian." He was like, "Oh, that's really smart. Okay, let's do that. Yeah, okay, fine." So yeah, that was fun.
Nice. Yeah. So was he a superhero or was he just a regular character?
It was so that was it was a weird one. I really liked it a lot. It was a post-apocalyptic fantasy, but it wasn't even post-apocalyptic. It was after the apocalypse, and as things started to get better, we called it a post-apocalyptic renaissance. And it was because things were going up to that next level. And so it was like a fantasy style character, but they still had sort of superhero qualities to them because of the magic and all that kind of stuff. We definitely had that feel to it. So yeah, but it was a lot of fun. I really liked those characters a lot.
Nice. Okay. And are you planning on going back to those characters again, or are you just kind of push them to the side and?
Well, I mean they're not owned by me, so hopefully at some point he can do something with that, and I'd be open to see if there was room for me to be able to get back in there and possibly work in that realm.
Right, right. And well, is there anything new that you've been doing lately? That I think you put up on my wall that you've been doing a crowdfunding or something.
Yeah, I actually have 3 Kickstarters on right now. Well, and 3 that I'm pushing hard, but technically I have 5 projects Kickstarter or crowdfunding right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That keeps you busy.
It does. It does. Luckily, the other two, there are other people's projects, and I just edited for them, so I get to show them off now and then and talk about them. I don't have to push them too hard, and those guys are really good. They've got their own stuff happening, so they're doing well. But the three that I'm doing right now and I'm trying to push are the anthology Cthulhu Invades Oz. That's a really good one. I'm very excited about that. I'm an editor there, but I also have a story that I wrote in it. And what's really cool about that anthology is that anthologies usually it's just a bunch of like, there's a bunch of short stories and they don't mean anything and who gives a crap.
Right.
And I don't love that. I don't love feeling like I'm just a random piece in this thing that has a general theme. And what's awesome about this is that this is one narrative, one storyline. And all of us who did stories for it just got to take a peek on that timeline. And so we each got to focus on one character in the Oz universe and then or in the Cthulhu universe. And in this timeline of how Cthulhu is invading Oz, we get to see how that works and what happens with that character. So I got the Scarecrow, and that meant that anybody else who wanted to use the Scarecrow, they had to talk to me, because what I was doing with that character, I effectively was taking ownership of them. And so anything you want to do with them outside of that, that's you have to make sure that it fits in with my story. Okay. So yeah, man, really cool.
Now I've noticed this is that there's like with Oz, is that like some that everybody can go out and use, like the Wizard of Oz stuff? Is that?
Yeah, that was the point too, is that we can use those two legally, we can mash them up, but we did have to make sure that we didn't because there's still stuff from the Oz world that you can't use. You can't use the stuff from the movies. The ruby slippers, you can't use the ruby slippers. They have to be silver, because that's specifically from the movie. So we had to stick with the books and make sure that we use the books and all of that sort of material.
Did you have to go to the state that owned it that asked them, or
no?
Because there's an Indiegogo going out. I don't know if you know that, what called Battle Road. It's something about Oz or something. Battle Brick Road or something like that. It's called. And they feature some stuff with the Wizard of Oz. So I wasn't sure,
Yeah, no. Basically, as long as you're not taking from the other people and it's your own vision of Oz, or Cthulhu or whatever, you're fine. And again, but you do have to make sure that those are open source materials. So, because even in like Cthulhu, there's stuff that you still can't use because they've been copyrighted and such, and that copyright still holds up. So you have to be careful with that. And we all did our research, and we actually had an expert on board who knew about all that stuff. So we would ask them, hey, am I allowed to do this? Am I allowed to do that? So it was very cool.
Nice. Okay. I'm going to show your video, the one link that you put into my on my wall here. Let me share the wall here, and we'll play the video for you.
Is this Belial or?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like this video.
Yeah, so let me get into the link here.
You can add devices in the Google Home app.
All right, there we go. I'm going to make that full screen. Give me a moment here. And
What up, my demons? I'm Chuck Pineau, one half of the Belial creator team. We're super excited to bring you double the fun, double the hilarity, and double the pain in this crazy underdog adventure where our boy, Belial, the original creator of hell, takes on two horsemen, Pestilence and Famine. We have lots of great rewards for you, such as amazing variants by superstar artists such as Steph Wilson, Chris Madd, Thomas Tenney, and even more to come as the campaign goes on. We would love it if you checked out everything we have in store, because it's only going to get better. Thank you so much, and stay evil.
Nice, nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, you get the flames and everything going there.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
We went all out. That's my dude, Eric Cockrell, who made that. He's also my partner on the novel Essence House. So yeah, we were very happy with that video. I think it came along really well.
And you did the voiceover. That was cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. Mine was mine. I do videos of my own, but I do them too simple. So yours is way better than mine. Yeah.
That's you know what, man. This is honestly my first high quality video. Every other, it's been the same thing. It's probably what you do. Just me kind of talking to everybody and hopefully getting the point across.
Yeah. Yeah. When you got if you got a little bit of the money, then you go and spend for the good stuff.
Money or friends.
Yeah. That usually helps. Friends. You know, that know how to do that stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. That's where a lot of my successes come from just knowing good people who are like, yeah, man, you've been helpful to me. I'll do that for you. So yeah.
All right, so I'll show another one here. I got Essence House.
Essence House. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll show that one. Let me get that set up again.
This one is more like a movie trailer. I love this one. We actually use this to show off the audio drama as well.
Right. Okay. Let me get that one started.
Are you sure about this? We should never have gotten involved. We're way beyond that now. We'll call a meeting soon and figure this out. How is a tool shed worth all this trouble? Wait, you don't know about the shed? It's just easier if I show you. Go outside. You'll understand. What is this? How is this possible? It's supposed to be gone. Tim's eyes slowly opened, and he peered around him. They were not in the Essence House anymore. Essence House by Eric J. Cockrell and Chuck Pineau. Today's the day, asshole.
That's neat. Was this were they the clip? Were they friends of yours, or was it just clips from like a movie or?
Yeah, that was clips that he took from online that anybody can use.
Oh, so the free shots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Because it looked like, somebody already had put that together,
I know, right? And that's the talent that is Eric Cockrell. He's just super awesome, and he does the audio engineering for our audio drama as well. So we have we actually pay for a voiceover actor, Michael Goodrick, and he's absolutely amazing at what he does, and he does that really well. And then Eric comes in and he adds the audio, the sound, the music, all that kind of stuff to it, and we move on from there. But he does the same with video as he does with audio, and so you get something awesome like that.
And that probably helps bringing a lot of people for the crowdfunding too, right?
Yeah, I mean, so far so good. We've been up for about a week. We've got 49 backers, so that's nice. I really want to push and hit that 50 and then keep moving onwards. Our issue is, and we're fairly honest about this, we're primarily comics. So we really have had a hard time trying to find the novel crowd. But, so far so good.
Nice.
Huh.
Yeah. Let me show you. Let me put one more on. You give me 3 of them here. And this is the one with the Oz one.
Yeah, I'll tell you that video, and he even admits it. That video is a longer one, and it's not quite up to stuff with the other 2.
So what do you find, the longer ones help or the shorter ones?
I prefer shorter. I tell everybody who asks me, if you're going to do a video for Kickstarter, keep it under 2 minutes, 100%. And I even prefer, if I can, to keep it under a minute.
Yeah, because people don't have patience that much to watch a longer video, right?
No, they don't. Even like you saw the Belial video. It's literally, I think it's 1 minute and 1 second, and it still only has a 60% playthrough rate. So 60% of the people who watch it all the way through. So, even at a minute, you don't always have everybody. So
Yeah. Well, I find sometimes with the live views I see people come in and then they disappear, and I'm going like, well, they don't have the patience to sit down and watch a lot of it,
Yep, it's true.
Yeah. Well, let me get it started.
Welcome to the Cthulhu Invades Oz Kickstarter. The Wizard of Oz is a timeless fantasy story known the world over with beloved characters that anyone could name. Lovecraft and, more importantly, Cthulhu have been in our nightmares for more than 100 years. Comic creators have been telling stories in both of these universes for years, but now it's time to put these two universes in a war. So to tell this story right, I gathered the best creators I knew in the industry. From Image and Action Labs, Source Point Press, Aftershock, Caliber, Mad Cave, and Scout all got together to create this epic war battle where we take our beloved characters and see what happens when Cthulhu invades their world. Check this out. So I knew I needed to go big with this book. So I grabbed some of the greatest creators I could, and we made a 145 plus page book. We have two amazing covers. One cover is hardcover. It's hand-drawn, hand-painted on a canvas with pages of the original Wizard of Oz behind it. So you can see some of the original art in the background. We also have the exclusive orange cone softcover. That book will be exclusive to the Kickstarter with beautiful spot UV. Lastly, but not least, we have the direct market. That'll be for our retail partners. Those partners can pick up this book and have something exclusive for their sale. But don't worry, put a couple of packages where you can get it here on the Kickstarter. But why don't we take a break and look at some of the beautiful art?
did the sound go out, or is that just me?
Part of the thing we put together. So that's it. Hopefully you liked what you saw. Hopefully we inspire you to buy this. Check out below all the different options that we have, and let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, so we have some problem with the sound because I turned off my mic there for a moment.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did turn off for a little bit.
Okay, I didn't think it was going to affect it.
It's all good.
Yeah, that looks good.
It really is a great story. The video sadly doesn't do it justice because the book itself is amazing.
This is you've got three different books: a limited edition hardcover, an orange cone exclusive softcover, and then you've got a direct market softcover. Wow.
Yep. Yeah, I think having those different covers and whatnot, it really gets people excited to get the different versions, to support in every way. I mean, I'm not a comic collector as much as I am someone who collects stories. So
Mhm.
I don't need all the variants and all that. But there's a segment out there that does. And I hate when comic creators are like, well, I make comics for me. And you're like, well, that's a small segment. And honestly, those aren't the people who are going to make you money. The
Yeah.
people who are going to make you money and possibly get excited about your stuff and put them in slabs and want to show them off and make them collector's items, those are the people who are going to put money in your pocket and who are going to propel your career forward. So, and that doesn't mean you have to sell out, but why not have a couple variants? I mean, certainly people talk about, I've seen comics that have, like 70 variants and stuff like that. And you're like, what?
That's the
But
last Ronin. That's the last Ronin. Have you seen that? 70. They have 70 different covers for the last Ronin.
that's insanity, man. That's just nuts. We
Yeah.
have, I think on this one, I believe we have, we technically have 5.
Okay.
And one of them isn't offered in here at all. It was actually a store or a convention exclusive where they contacted me and they said, we want an exclusive for our convention. What can we do? And I was like, all right, well, here's what we can do. So that's one that our fans won't even have access to until he starts selling them.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what they're doing with the Ninja Turtles too, because there's a store in Winnipeg called Big Country, and they've done a Last Ronin cover. They've got a guy I think he's in Oakville, maybe he moved. I was talking to him a few weeks ago on my live stream, and he did a cover, and he made it look like the cover of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think it was number 3 with the one with the April's van going down the street with a blue cover on it, and he's got one of the last Ronins in the sewer, kicking, beating the crap out of the foot soldiers, and some of them are robots, from the cartoon series, the first
Krang
one,
and everything. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And he says he's got little stuff in the background, kind of like a license plate that was on April's van or something like that. So you have to look for these little hidden gems in the drawing.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So, but 70 different covers from different stores and stuff like that. I guess they went and wrote out and said, hey, we wanted a cover for our store,
Oh, certainly. Yeah. And I get that. I mean, that's something special for them. And it means that if people want all those covers, they have to go specifically to that store. So that's something really cool.
Yeah. And then that brings in readers,
Mm-hmm.
which is good,
Readers, collectors, all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if they can buy it online. I heard a lot of it sold out. So
yeah, absolutely it did.
Like the one I'm getting, like I had to order this because I know Mike. I met Mike a few times. So they only printed 500 copies.
Wow.
So I'm lucky to get the book. It cost me quite a bit to get it.
I bet. I think, wasn't it like more than $10 just on its own, like just for a regular copy, not a variant?
I think it was $8.99 or $9.99.
Yeah, that sounds right.
You got the Canadian price here too, So
which ends
more.
up being like $13 or $14.
Yeah, I always joke with people about the price. I said, "Oh, I gotta pay for some from the States. That's gonna cost me like." I'm trying to figure that out in my head.
Almost double.
Double, yeah. I said our dollar is only worth 50 cents.
Isn't it actually like 70 cents right now?
Yeah, 70 or I don't know. I haven't kept track. But I always joke it's around 50 cents,
Yeah.
It used to be $1 there for, I think 10 years ago. It was like $1 for a while.
Yeah, it was. Yep, we were actually above, which was bad because Canada's whole market is based on having its dollar cheaper than the American dollar.
Yeah, I don't like that being like that, Because everything.
I mean,
yeah,
I get it. I understand why it's done. It helps to stimulate the Canadian economy and whatnot, and helps to bring people over. So I feel like it's one of those things where it's just like, we know our place, we know where we work, so why not work within that area? And certainly, if you want to do differently, then do it. But until that time,
Yeah,
this is where we work best.
it's not good for a comic book collector over here.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure the economists aren't really worried about the comic book collectors,
Oh,
but I
I
feel
know.
you there. I feel you.
Well, you're a publisher and stuff like that. You're looking at like, well, if I want to get more, I want to
Oh,
sell
yeah.
to my country, but I want to sell to the other country too.
Oh, absolutely. I want it to be in as many hands as possible, and I don't care what borders I have to cross or what oceans I have to cross.
Yeah. Now, this campaign we're looking at here, the one with the Oz one, you have this in demand, or is this still running? It's still running, isn't it?
Yeah, all three of those are still running.
Okay. And this one is ending in 16 days.
Yep.
Okay. I need to look into this one later on.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy that an awful lot.
Yeah, I'm not buying all three covers.
No. I don't even think technically you can, because you have to get the retailer at your local comic shop.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Nice. And you have the same artist doing all three covers?
Nope. Different artists for each one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Same with my variants for Belial as well. All different artists.
Right. So they send you different ideals for covers, and you pick the best one?
It really depends on the artist. Steph Wilson, when he did his, we weren't even going to get a cover from him, but he sent us this sketch because he really loved the first issue, and he sent us that sketch, and I was like, oh shit, we got to turn that into a cover. So we loved it, and we went, yeah, okay. And then something like the Chris Mad cover, that was an idea that I had, and I was like, dude, I need to see what you can do with this, and he made it just badass.
Yeah, they all look nice. They look really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, the first one there with the creature in the red, is that poppies that he's walking through?
Is that for Cthulhu Invades Oz?
Yeah.
That might be a poppy field, yeah.
Okay. Because it looked like poppies,
Yeah.
I don't know, the character walking through that reminds me of another character. I'm trying to think who, like in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, okay.
Was it Davy Jones? Maybe I'm thinking of. I'm not sure.
Perhaps.
Yeah, with the long.
Yeah,
is that more of a beard guy kind of thing with the tentacles?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that Davy's Locker or one of the characters in the Caribbean?
Davy Jones' Locker, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what he kind of reminds me of. And a little bit of a Marvel character, I think. Fum.
Oh, Fin Fang Foom.
Yeah. That's what he kind of looks like.
Yeah.
Cthulhu
is from like the 1800s.
Okay.
And the early 1900s.
Okay. And you're just mixing them up in different universes and stuff.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, they look really nice. I just sorry, I'm on the screen looking at them. So
no, that's okay, man. I'm glad you're enjoying it. That means a lot to all of us involved.
Yeah. I'll reshare the link for this one when we get off later on.
Okay.
And get you some more pledges and stuff.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And you have any more? Did you have any more there? There's only 3 of them you have, right? Yeah.
Yeah, those are the 3 main ones that I'm pushing, yeah.
Yeah. And then you got the Essen House was a time travel one.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe we might. Is that a hardcover as well?
You can do both.
Oh, soft cover in here.
Yep. Yeah, I'm very excited. having a soft cover, like just having a novel is amazing. This will be my first novel, and I'm very excited about that. But
Yeah.
having a hardcover, it's just like there's something. It feels more real,
They,
if that even makes any sense.
they look better on a shelf, on a bookshelf, when you have a hardcover book.
They
You know,
do.
like when I go out and buy novels, I make sure I try to get a hardcover. So I find the paperbacks tend to damage a little bit more when you
Yep.
read them and stuff like that. They're small, you know. I've been reading a lot of Richard Castle. Do you know who Richard Castle is? Don't you?
Is Richard Castle one of Stephen King's pseudonyms?
No,
Okay.
it was a TV show with Nathan Fillion.
Oh, Fillion. Yeah,
Fillion.
Castle.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
right.
Castle. So what they did with the show, because he's a writer, he's a mystery writer.
That's right.
They published a bunch of books under his name in reality.
That's so smart. I love that idea.
So I've got all the Nikki Heat books, because if you've ever followed Castle, Nikki Heat is Lieutenant. Man, my brain's going blank now. And I had her name in my head there. Anyway, it's the woman that he likes in the show, and so he calls her Nikki Heat. And he writes a book because he's got a book called Derek Storm, which in the first episode he kills off the character, and everybody's telling him, "Don't kill him off! Don't kill him off!" Like he goes out and plays poker with like Stephen Canal and a few other writers, and they're all going, "No, don't kill him! You know, injure him or something. You know, don't kill off your character. You know." And so he doesn't have a storyline. So he comes up, he falls, Beckett, that's her name, and he falls in love with her, and he writes her up as a character in his book, and he writes himself in the book, and they have this romantic thing going on. And then in the TV show, they don't really have that going on, you know?
Yeah.
Yet, you know?
Yet, of course, yeah. Oh, that's neat. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so I went out and bought the books. I said, I really love Nathan, you know?
Yeah.
You know, he's Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's funny.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. Yeah, absolutely.
Firefly, I loved that series.
Firefly, Buffy, yeah, he's done a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and what else was he in? He was in Guardians, I heard.
Yep, you're right there. He also did. He's got a show called The Rookie, where he's kind of like a guy in his late 30s or early 40s who ends up getting into being a police officer late in life.
Yeah, I watched it. I couldn't get into that one.
Yeah, I know of it. I don't like a lot of those kind of procedurals and whatnot. So yeah, I never really got into it, but I know of it. He's done all sorts of stuff.
But Castle was cool. And then they did, 2 Derek Storm books. They did a graphic novel. And then they did two, I think 2 or 3 actual novels. So I got them all.
That's cool. Good for you, man. I think that's neat, man.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I read the Nikki Heat books. It must be written by somebody else who writes Derek Storm. And I can read Derek Storm easier, where the Nikki Heat series is difficult to read through. It's hard to follow. It feels like you're going, oh my God, the writing is... I don't think the writing is that good.
Yeah.
You know? But the Derek Storms are really good. Maybe because Derek Storm likes Fords. I like Fords. So,
it could just as easily be a different ghostwriter, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, they usually get somebody... Yeah, I thought maybe it was the guy who wrote the show that was doing the novels, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, they usually have a crew of writers, like a whole room. So there's a good chance that one of them might do that. Yeah, or they could have sold it out, either or.
Yeah. So this one, that we're going to go back to your Essence book here. So that is a full novel.
Yep. And what's neat about that is it's an audio drama. Last week we dropped chapter 17. So there's 20 chapters in the novel, and you can already listen to the first 17. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you want to know if you like it or not, you can go to any of the podcast sites.
Yep.
And you can look up Essence House and you can start listening to it. And if you like it, then it's going to be something that you'll enjoy.
Nice. And you got a co-writer with you in this one.
Yep, that's Eric Cockrell. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so he kind of came to you with the outline that he wanted to do, and you kind of both.
He came to me more with an idea than an outline, and then from there we outlined it and turned it into something. And originally it was just going to be the audio drama, so we were going to do season 1 and then season 2 and move on.
Yeah.
And as we got into COVID, because it dropped January 1st, as we got into COVID, we were like, what are we going to do with this? And people started getting excited about it because they wanted to be entertained and they needed something on the cheap. So having a free audio drama really worked out for us at that time.
Okay.
We were one of the people who actually kind of lucked out where COVID was concerned. And so, yeah, they were able to do that and enjoy that. And so as it moved forward, I was like, hey, man, because season 1 definitely had this cliffhanger style ending. So I said, hey, if we give season 2 a stronger ending and a harder ending, then we could make it a novel. And then if we decide we want to do season 3 and keep going, we can keep going from there.
Right. So when you're writing something like this, who claims like, I wrote this, I wrote that,
I mean, we do it jokingly because we'd be like, oh yeah, I ended up working on that chapter, because we do often go back and forth on chapters. But I think even as now we're at we're almost at 20 chapters, more and more it becomes easier to forget who wrote what. So we're just so proud of the whole thing and so happy with the whole thing. So we do have a good idea of who wrote what, but it's never any kind of competition, because like my wife's favorite chapter is a chapter that Eric wrote, but like his girlfriend, I think one of my chapters was her favorite. And so like it never matters. It's always just something playful and fun. And at the end of the day, we both feel like the whole book has been such a good experience, and we worked so well together that it doesn't really matter who wrote what. At the end of the day, we made something really cool together.
Right. Nice.
Yeah.
So basically you do a chapter, you give him that, and then he continues that on then?
So I'll finish a chapter. So right now I'm working on chapter 18, trying to get that tightened up and done. And when I'm happy with it, I'll send it to him and he'll take a look at it. And we already have it outlined, so he has a good idea of what it will look like. It's just, I get to flesh it out and add my extra stuff to it. And so he'll look at it and then he'll edit it, and we'll kind of go over it together and see what works and what doesn't, tighten it up, and then send it off and make it happen, and then move on to the next one.
Nice. Okay, cool. And that still is going on, that campaign. How many more days does that have that left?
I think this one has like 20 days left.
22.
22. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yep. And we're at I think 68% funded on that one. So what's fun about that one is we have these things called milestone goals, because we knew it was going to be harder to get to our goal.
Right.
So at 75% funded, you get another novel by another novelist. Actually, this one's by Russell Nolte. And so every time we've hit something, our followers get a different novel. So you got a novel by Greg Thompson when we hit 25%, and then you got one by my good friend Caitlin Corvus, and then Russell Nolte will get you a free novel at 75%, and then at 100%, we know we're funded, we know we're good, and you get to see that.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, those, I just posted those up on my Facebook wall.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I did the Essen House and the Oz one.
Cool.
Yeah. So your Oz one is at 62 of its goal. So
yeah,
that's good. That's really good.
And that's a huge goal. Like it's $20,000. It's an awful lot, but we're glad that people are enjoying it and that we're getting there. So
That's good. It's very hard to do this stuff, the Kickstarter and that, because I tried it about 3 or 4 years ago, and I just didn't quite make to my goal,
Yeah,
So
it's tough, man. It really is. Like, and even when you do it well, it's still tough. Like you're always trying to outdo yourself, and you're trying to bring people the best thing that you possibly can. So like, I mean, we've already broken our goal. We've broken 2 stretch goals for Belial, and I'm still trying to push it. And it's not necessarily even a greed thing. You want to get it into as many hands as possible. You want to take this opportunity. You only have 30 days. So, I can't tell you how often I've seen people fund really quick and then go, cool, well, I'm good. And then kind of walk away, and you're like, what are you doing?
yeah,
Like you made $2,000, but you could make 5, 7, whatever. Like you could really push it. And they just kind of walk away and go, all right, cool. And I refuse to do that. Again, it's not about greed. It's about getting it into as many hands, showing off the property, always trying to move further and further up and up. And so when that becomes, now that 2 is winding down and almost done, then when 3 comes out, we try to move for even more backers and even more money if we can.
nice, yeah, because you want to get it in as many hands as you possibly, like back in the old days, you printed up a bunch of books. You relied on Diamond, like if you're doing comic books, and then you get them out, and you want to get rid of them. You don't want them in your house.
No, yeah, not at all.
Yep. You print 3,000 books, you want them out the door.
It's truth.
And with the printing, you don't know if you're going. Does Kickstarter do an in demand? Because I know Indiegogo does.
No, they don't.
They don't. Once your campaign is over, you can't keep it flowing.
Yeah.
So you may go out and say, well, you're not gonna, if you got 500 people or 1,000 people that bought your book, you're gonna print more than what you got on your campaign, because you could potentially sell that later.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you don't want too much of that in your house anyway.
No, totally.
Yeah. So, listen, Chuck, we've gone, what's over an hour. Do you want to, I guess we'll end this right now.
Okay.
Do you want to maybe mention your campaigns once more to people that aren't sure?
I can absolutely do that. What's up, guys? I'm Chuck Pineau. You can find me on Facebook under this name. You can find me on Instagram, same name. You can find me on Twitter @ChuckyPin, and you can find my Chuck's Raw Reviews, where I talk about independent comic books that I love, on my YouTube channel. I have 3 great campaigns going on right now. Cthulhu Invades Oz, which we talked about earlier, and that is it is what it is, right? It's Cthulhu invading Oz. There's more than 50 different creators working on this to bring you, I think it's probably going to end up being over 150 pages. It comes in multiple things and whatnot, and it's a single narrative. Absolutely fantastic book. Love that one to death. And then Essence House, the hit audio drama, we are now turning into a novel. And if you enjoyed the audio drama, and you think, well, I've already heard the story, well, there will be a lot of fleshing out in the novel that wasn't able to happen in the audio drama because we stuck to 20-minute chapters. Now we're going to be able to build those chapters out and add some more details in there. So it will be basically the same story, but we'll definitely be adding and fleshing up more stuff. And then, of course, our big bad boy, Belial, the original creator, Hell, is back, and he's taking on both pestilence and famine so that he can reclaim his throne from Lucifer.
That's cool.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you, Chuck. We're going to end the broadcast right now. If anybody's come to my YouTube channel, please like this video and subscribe if you're not. And thank you for the conversations, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.